Hi there, my name is Ed. I'm just going to walk you through the 20mm 3D logo wall signs. I'm going to speak about the product, talk about its benefits, and also give you an idea of how to actually process an order and just make sure that it's the right product for you. So first of all, the 20mm logos are a perfect logo to give you a really nice, thick and chunky looking logo on the wall. They are painted in your brand colors. So we cut out the logo with a precision cutter. We then source the paint that it perfectly matches your brand color. And so it gives us a huge range of painting options and colors that we can pick from. However, it is limited to solid colors really. And so if your logo has multiple colors in, there's another product that we would recommend, which is the 20mm with printed acrylic, where we print a piece of acrylic and put it onto the front of the logo. And this allows us to be able to get a gradient over the front of the logo. So just double check whether you have a logo that is just a simple color logo or whether it might need the printed acrylic. And we'll come on to more of that a bit later to kind of explain a bit more. So the product is a great product for offices. It's a great product for anywhere that is not open to the public. The main reason being that these logos can get damaged. And the main reason for that is that the material that we use, if you punch it, it is going to get damaged. But as long as you're putting it in somewhere like an office or you're putting it somewhere that is going to be put up and then not tampered with, it's a fantastic product for you. So just don't go putting it in a school or a hospital or somewhere that is open to the public where people can ultimately come along and try and pick off the logos. We do have other options for logos that would work better for those kind of environments. Look at the acrylic logos for that. So basically the way that we sell the product is that we use the longest edge. In this instance, for this logo, it would be the width. And so we're basically selling it based on the longest edge. So you would pick, for example, if you want the logo to be 1.5 meters wide or 150 wide, which I think is what this Flinder guys did. You would then select 150 longest edge. If your logo is a square, like this kind of design, it might cost more money because it ultimately uses a lot more material. Logos that are long and thin, like this one here, are exactly what we're looking for when we're selling the product on this product page. However, we can do square logos. They just cost more money because they use a lot more material. So, just get in touch with us via email if you've got a logo like that. The logos are painted on all sides, and so from every angle they look fantastic. So they've been hand painted on all sides except the back, which obviously has the double-sided tape on the back. The logos also come with a template. So we basically cut the material out, cut the logo out of the material, and then we are sending the product inside the negative material, and that becomes your template. And so the package you'd receive like this, with the logo placed inside the template. You pick the template off, you place it onto the wall, masking tape it up into the right location, and then it's very, very simple. You're taking, in this instance, the F and the R, and you're just placing them into the holes which they correspond to, and one by one just placing them into those locations. So very, very simple, very easy to install, probably one of the easiest products that we do to install. And then they come with these 3M double-sided pads that you peel off the double-sided tape and literally just push it into the space in the logo, in the template, sorry. We can do metallic colors in metals, in silver and gold, and we can also do a bit more complex shapes like this. As long as we can hand paint it, we're able to do that, not too much of a problem. Otherwise, you come to doing a product like this where it's just not possible for us to hand paint something like this, or gradients or designs that have drop shadows and things. They're just too complex for us to do, so we then add the acrylic on the front. They're great for events, they're great for offices, they're great for exhibition stands, so you can move them as well. So if you were to buy a logo, put it up at an event, you could then take it down, keep the template, take it with you back home. You can then obviously put it up in the office. The main way to do that, because of the adhesive pads on the back, is that you'd want to take something like a fishing wire or a metal wire of some description that would allow you to kind of garrote behind each letter and cut through that foam tape. That would allow each letter to then fall off the wall. You'd need to catch it and make sure you've got a second person there to kind of help you. Place all the letters back into the template, and then when you get back to the office, you need to get new double-sided tape, stick it onto the back of the lettering, and then you can put it up using the template again in the new office or the new space. So very straightforward, but they work great for offices most of the time, but also for events as well. So let's talk about the fixings. We do have the ability for you to do no fixings for freestanding. So obviously that only works for some letters. This Best Lehendry wouldn't work because the letters are stacked on top of each other, so they'd all just fall over. But if you had a logo that was fairly simple, that was all individual letters, then it might be possible for you to be able to freestand it. But on the whole, 99.9% of customers are using the adhesive pads on the back. So what else to mention? So you can then upload the logo here or potentially after checkout, depending on when you're watching this video. The turnaround time is shown down here. We can sometimes do quicker than this, but this is our standard turnaround, and it does depend on how busy we are. We also are sometimes able to offer a speedy service, so you can always get in touch with us and ask about that on email, and we'll see what we can do. Product info is all here, and like we said, the cost is based on one logo, so don't upload 3 logos in a file and think you can get away with that. It's just based on the one logo, and it's based on a logo being long and thin, not square or a circle. So please, if you've got a logo like that, do get in touch and we'll see what we can do. So yeah, and as I said, if you've got a logo that's got more colour in it or a gradient like this, have a little look at the printed acrylic, the 20mm plus printed acrylic logo, where we double those products up. A couple of photos to give you some examples of the kind of work that we've done. You can see here various companies that we've worked with. After you've placed the order and it's in production, we will then send you photographs of the logo before it's posted out, just so that you can see that it looks amazing and get excited for the logo. You can see this client used it on their exhibition stand, so it does work really well for that kind of event and for that kind of purpose. A lot of the time we're doing logos behind reception desks or just on a feature wall in an office. We can do logos that are both coloured or that are white or black or what have you. So you can do a simple logo like that. So yeah, there's loads of examples here just to kind of give you a visual really of the kind of products that we're able to do. Logos like this, which are absolutely huge. This was, I think, 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters. We're able to do, but the way we do these is that we actually cut them into a couple of different sections, glue them back together again, and then we're able to produce big shapes like this. But again, that would cost more, so you need to get in touch. Here's an example again of the template with the letters all pushed into the shapes. So really straightforward, very, very easy to do. And then you're gently pulling the template off the wall to be able to leave the lettering perfectly spaced. So you can't really install it wrong unless you fit that template wonky on the wall. So as long as you've got a spirit level to put up against this template, you can't really install it incorrectly, to be totally honest. So yeah, again, an example there of the template next to the logo, just so you can see the two together. Like we talked about before, if you have a gradient in your logo or you've got a design that's a bit more tricky, this is the kind of product that you could do, where we add the acrylic onto the front. Designs that have got really thin lines, heavy detail, logos with multiple colours overlapping one another, gradients, designs that are just a bit more complex. This design had a green into green, so that's why that was done like that. Designs that are a bit more creative and fun, or just designs that are a bit more creative like this. So you've got the painted material at the bottom, and then you've got the acrylic that goes on top to create a logo like this. So just be aware that that is an option that we can offer you, but you'd need to look at the 20mm logo. Let's just quickly dive into this mock-up here. So if you're unsure about the product to go for or the size to go for, you can always email us with your logo and the wall size that you've got, and we'd be able to put together a mock-up, something like this, to help you see the size of the design and what it would look like on the wall. So feel free to get in touch with us, send us an email. My name's Ed, and you can always get in touch with me, and I'll happily send a mock-up like this. Lastly, just to quickly kind of give you some examples, these are the kinds of logos that work really well for the 20mm because they're individual colours that are not overlapping. They're simple, straightforward logos that are mostly text-based. They're mostly long and thin on the whole. And so these logos work really well for the 20mm because they're simple. Even though this design here has lots of interlocking shapes, designs like this actually look really, really cool for the 20mm, so they look really, really smart. Same with designs like this, they just look really, really cool. So for designs like this, where you can see that colour touching that colour, we would just do a join here, paint that orange, and paint this blue. So that one it's borderline. If that colour had a gradient in or something, it wouldn't be possible. But similarly here, as long as the designs are separate colours from one another, it's all possible to do. However, if your logo looks something like this, where you've got things like a gradient, a really complex shape with lots of design elements, loads of different colours, more gradient elements, where you've got designs like this, which are just crazy in terms of colour, or you've got this band which is this specific colour, or you've got designs like this where you've got lots of thin lines in a design, we would end up cutting this out into one shape around the outside of the chameleon, and then we'd put the acrylic over the top. So if your logo looks something like some of these logos, this is where you'd be looking at going for the 20mm acrylic with the 20mm plus printed acrylic, because this will allow us to be able to do a lot more than we can with just the painting. A couple of other elements to mention is that if your logo has a very large shape, like a square around the outside, a circle, long thin lines, a box around the outside, designs like this where you've got a shape that essentially goes over the whole of your logo, these become trickier to make, so they would cost a bit more money to make essentially, and we may need to do elements like this loop around the outside. We'd need to cut it in a couple of places, which ultimately just makes it cost a bit more money. So if your logo has some of these elements where it's got a big shape in the logo, we'd recommend you get in touch with us. We'll put a quote together, make sure it's possible, figure out the size with you, and then we can do our best to try and let you know what can be done. Another couple of elements to mention are that if your logo has lots of very thin lines, it's often not possible to be able to create the logo very small, so under about a metre or 1.2 metres wide. So if you're looking at a logo that's sort of 50 centimetres wide and you have a small thin lines in your logo, it's probably not going to be possible to create your logo in this kind of 20mm product. But again, get in touch with us. We can help you decide the right product to go for. But ultimately, when you've got logos that have got lots of thin lines in, we may have to thicken them up in order to make it possible to cut the logo. So this Gia jewelry here, for example, one of the ways that we would do that is that we would come in here and we'd offset path, which makes the text a bit thicker, and we can do this kind of to get to the point where the lettering is then at the size at which we can cut it. And that way, that's one of the ways that we can make logos like this possible to cut. The other way is just increasing the size of the overall logo. And so if your logo was very small, then obviously it's not going to be possible to cut. But what we might say to a customer is, why don't you go for the logo at this size, which is a bit bigger, and that way we don't have to thicken up the lettering. So when you get in touch with us, when you discuss your logo with us, we'd be able to do our best to recommend the right thing for you. But thin lettering and detailed designs like this make it quite difficult to make logos in 3D. So just get in touch and we can always help. So I hope that that's been helpful. That's been the 20mm 3D logos. If you've got any other questions, have a little look further down the product page. You can see videos. You can see the fact that when you place the order, you then get a proof, which my design team would send you through, that looks something like this, which is a PDF document that shows you the design for you to approve. You approve that. Then the order goes into production, and then we'd obviously take the time that it takes to produce the order. Various other elements here to show you the fact that they're custom coloured in your specific colours. The logos are removable, like we talked about earlier. You've got videos of people time-lapse installing them and things like that. Plenty of decent reviews. We've then got some videos here of other customers reviewing the products, so you can have a little look at those as well. Plenty more pictures for you to see, and an FAQ section at the bottom. So plenty of information there for you to see and get some more information about this particular product. So I hope that that's been helpful. If you've got any other questions, just reach out to us on email and ask, but I hope that that's been helpful. Take care. Bye.